How did one smug line I threw at my husband turn into divorce papers being handed to me in front of people I wanted to impress? Why did he stay so calm while my whole story fell apart, page by page? What happens when the villain you mocked shows receipts and lets the law speak? My name is Eustacia Vye, and I used to think I was the honest one in my house. I worked in medical billing at a clinic, and I told myself I carried the whole family on my back. Caleb was my husband. He worked for the city transit office. He liked rules and quiet evenings. I said he liked them too much. That morning started like many others. The kitchen smelled like toast and coffee. The kids were at the table. Mila was drawing small boxes on a paper. Noah was pushing cereal around with his spoon. Caleb asked if I slept okay. I said I was fine. He asked if I was still working late again. I said it was month end and the clinic was behind. He looked at me for a long time. He asked why I'd been on my phone so much. I laughed and said everyone used their phone. I asked why he was counting my minutes like a boss. He said he was not counting. He was worried. I told him worry was not love, and he should stop trying to control me. I did not say the real reason I held my phone close. I did not say the new messages made me feel awake. I liked the feeling. I told myself I deserved it. My screen lit up while Caleb poured milk. It was only a short preview, just a name and 2 words. Tristan. You free? I tilted the phone down fast. Caleb's eyes moved to my hand. He asked who it was. I said it was a coworker, asking about a claim. He asked why the name looked like a man's name. I said men work too, and he was being rude. Caleb did not shout. He did not slam anything. He just put the milk back in the fridge with slow hands. He asked if I could stop lying to him. I said I was not lying. I said he was always suspicious, and it made me feel unsafe in my own home. I watched his face change at that word, like it hurt more than I wanted to admit. I still think I was right in that moment. If he felt guilty, he would stop asking questions. That was the point. Mila looked up and asked if Dad was mad. Caleb told her he was not mad, he was just tired. I told Mila that Dad worried too much, and she should not copy him. Caleb asked me not to say that. I said I was teaching our daughter confidence. After breakfast, Caleb walked the kids to the door and checked their bags. He asked me if I could pick them up today. I said I had a late shift. He asked if I could at least text if plans changed. I said I was not his employee. He nodded like he heard something he did not like, but he said okay. When he bent down to tie Noah's shoe, I saw his phone on the counter. I should not have looked, but I did. The screen woke up and a calendar alert flashed for 1 second. It only showed a place and a time, like Riverside 3:40 p.m. Then he covered it with his hand, like it was private. I felt heat rise in my chest. I told myself he was planning something. I told myself he was trying to catch me. I asked what that reminder was. He said it was just a personal meeting. I asked why he needed secret meetings. He said he did not want to argue in front of the kids. I said he was the one creating drama. He told me he was not creating anything. He was responding. I said his response was childish. He drove the kids to school and left. I stood in the kitchen and stared at the quiet counter. 2 mugs sat there. One had a chip. One did not. I did not like how separate they looked. I rinsed mine and left his out, like a small punishment. On the way to work, I played my story again in my head. Caleb was jealous. Caleb was old-fashioned. Caleb wanted to own me. That was what I told myself. That was what I would tell anyone who asked. At the clinic, the air was bright and cold. The open-plan office had low walls and tiny desks. People spoke in small voices. Computers clicked. I liked this place because no one knew me as Caleb's wife. Here, I was just Eustacia. Here, I could be new. Lena Ortiz asked if I was okay. I said I was just busy. She said I looked tired. I said my husband kept me up with his questions. She frowned and said nothing else. I did not like her silence. I preferred when people agreed with me. At my desk, I opened the schedule and moved a few tasks around. I swapped a call block with another person's slot. It looked normal. It always looked normal. I told myself I was just being flexible. I told myself I was solving problems. The truth was simpler. Tristan would be near the clinic today. He had said he could stop by. I liked how easy his words felt. Tristan was not part of my life in a clean way. He was a vendor rep. He came in with friendly energy and a sharp smile. He never asked me to be less. He never asked me to explain. He looked at me like I was a prize, not a problem. Around lunch, I saw him near the front area by the brochure stand. He did not come to my desk. He just looked over, and I felt my stomach lift. My phone buzzed. He wrote that he was around the corner and asked if I could step out for 5 minutes. I wrote back that I was swamped, but I could make a minute. I told myself it was professional. I told myself Caleb did not understand how work connections worked. I went to the break room and filled my water bottle too slowly. I checked the hallway. I did not want anyone to see. When I stepped out the side door, the air hit my face. Tristan stood by a parked car and asked how my day was. I said it was stressful. He asked if Caleb was still acting weird. I said yes, and I made it sound almost funny. He said I deserved peace. I said I knew. He asked if I missed him. I said it was complicated. He said I always made things heavy. I said he liked me because I was smart, not because I was easy. He smiled and said both could be true. I told myself that was not disrespect. I told myself it was confidence. When I came back in, my phone showed a missed call. No caller ID. It made my skin crawl. I told myself it was spam. I told myself it meant nothing. Still, I deleted it fast. Later, I returned to my desk and saw a cloud sync notification on my computer. File uploaded successfully. It was not on my screen a second before. I stared at it, unsure. Then it disappeared. I told myself the clinic system did that all the time. I told myself I was imagining it. At home that evening, Caleb was already there. The kids were in the living room. Caleb asked how work went. I said it was chaos. He asked what time I stepped out earlier, because he had tried to call the clinic and they said I was on break. I felt my heart jump, but my face stayed calm. I asked why he called my job. He said he did not call my job. He called my phone and it went to voicemail, so he tried the main line to reach me in case of an emergency with the kids. I said he was making excuses. I said he was spying. He told me he was not spying, he was parenting. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible stories. I said he was acting like a victim. He asked what I meant. I said he wanted attention. He asked if I was seeing someone else. I laughed and asked if he wanted to accuse me of crimes too. He said cheating was not a crime. It was a betrayal. I told him betrayal was a strong word for a few texts. He looked down, like my words pressed him into the floor. He asked if I could just answer yes or no. I said no, because yes would end my comfort, and no would make him doubt himself. He nodded once, like he wrote something inside his head. As I walked past the hallway closet, I heard a soft click, like a drawer closing. I turned and saw Caleb near the cabinet, where we kept household papers. There were folders with plain labels, like utilities and bank. He held one for a second, then slid it away. He said he was sorting because things were messy. I said he had always loved control. He did not argue back. He asked if I would eat with the kids. I said I was tired and needed a shower. He said okay. His voice was flat, but not cruel. That calm made me angry, because I wanted him to break first. In the bathroom, my phone buzzed again. Tristan wrote that he was close to my area and asked if I was okay. I stared at the message, and I felt both powerful and trapped. I told myself Caleb forced me into this. I told myself I was just taking what I needed. Then I heard Caleb's footsteps in the hallway, slow and steady, and I saw my screen light up again with Tristan's name. The next day, I woke up with my phone under my pillow, like it was a secret organ. Caleb was already up. I heard the kettle and the soft sound of plates. He did not wake me. That was new. When I came into the kitchen, he asked if I wanted coffee. I said yes, like nothing was wrong. He asked if I could look at the kids' school calendar later. I said I would if he stopped acting tense. He said he was not tense. He was trying to keep things normal. I told him normal felt like a cage. He did not argue. He put 2 lunches in the bags and checked the weather on his phone. I noticed he did not leave his phone on the counter this time. He kept it in his pocket, like I had taught him to be suspicious. On the drive to the clinic, Tristan sent a short message. He said he liked how I looked yesterday, and he asked if I could meet later. I stared at the words at a red light. I told myself I was not doing anything wrong. I told myself Caleb's questions had pushed me away first. It made sense in my head, so I let it be my truth. At work, the open plan office felt louder than usual. People whispered and clicked keys, but I heard everything like it was aimed at me. Lena asked if I was feeling better than yesterday. I said I slept fine. She asked if Caleb was still calling. I said he was, and I rolled my eyes on purpose. I wanted her to see it as silly. In the break room, Jenna Park was there with her glossy nails and loud laugh. She asked how my warden was doing. I laughed and said he was still watching my steps. She asked if he checked my phone. I said he tried, and I did not let him. She said I should train him like a puppy. I told her he needed to learn that I was not his property. Lena was making tea near the sink. She looked at me for a second and then looked away. I hated when people did that. I wanted cheers, not quiet judgment. Around noon, I told Jenna I might go out after work. She asked if Caleb would allow it. I said I did not need permission. She said we should go somewhere with a view, somewhere public, so everyone could see I was alive. I liked that idea. I liked being seen. I texted Caleb during lunch, not because I cared, but because it would look responsible later. I wrote that I would be out with Jenna after work and might be late. He replied fast and asked what time. I wrote, not sure. He asked if the kids needed dinner. I wrote that he could handle it. He wrote that he would. He did not beg, and that annoyed me more than anger would have. In the afternoon, I caught myself checking the clinic entrance again. Tristan did not come inside this time. He wrote that he was busy, but he hoped I would wear the black top tonight. I stared at my screen, then turned it down when someone walked behind me. I told myself it was normal to have a private life. I told myself Caleb had no right to complain when he had stopped making me feel wanted. After work, I went home to change. The house was quiet, but not peaceful. Caleb was in the living room with the kids. Mila was doing homework. Noah was building a tower. Caleb asked what time I would be back. I said late. He asked where we were going. I said a bar. He asked which one. I said it did not matter. He said it mattered because he needed to plan bedtime. I said he always used the kids to control me. He said he was not using them. He was caring for them. I told him he was trying to look like the good parent on purpose. He looked at me and asked why I was acting like he was my enemy. I said, because he made himself my enemy when he did not trust me. Mila looked up and asked if I was leaving again. I told her I was just going to talk with friends. Caleb told Mila that Mommy would be home later and that he would read a story. Mila nodded, but her eyes stayed on me. I did not like the guilt in her face, so I turned away. In the bedroom, I chose my outfit with care. I picked the black top. I did my hair and checked my phone twice. I told myself I was doing this for me. I told myself I had been invisible too long. When I walked out, Caleb was by the door with Noah's pajamas in his hand. He asked if I could kiss the kids before I left. I did it fast. He asked if I would text when I arrived. I smirked and said he was not my father. He said, okay, and he stepped aside like a person moving away from a fire. Jenna picked me up and we drove to a rooftop bar downtown. The elevator ride smelled like perfume and money. Music came through the walls like a heartbeat. Jenna said I needed to stop acting married when I was clearly not happy. I said marriage was just paper if the man did not act right. She asked what act right meant. I said it meant he should not whine and he should not watch me. She laughed and said I should write that on a t-shirt. At the bar, the city lights looked like scattered glass. Jenna took photos of our drinks. She told me to smile bigger. I did. I liked the camera. I liked proof that I was out living. Jenna asked if Tristan would come. I acted surprised and asked why she thought that. She said she had eyes, and she said my phone had been glowing for weeks. I told her she was imagining things. She said she was not judging, she was supporting. I said I did not need support. Then I checked my phone again. Tristan did not show up, but he sent a voice note. I did not play it out loud. I listened with one ear, hiding the speaker with my hand. He said he liked the way I did not apologize for being myself. He said Caleb sounded small. I felt a warm rush at that word, like I was winning a game. Jenna leaned closer and asked if Caleb had figured it out yet. I said no, because he was too soft to see reality. She asked what I would do if he found out. I said he would never leave. I said men like him did not leave. I said he needed me more than I needed him. I did not know why I said it like that, loud and proud. Maybe I wanted it to be true so badly that I needed witnesses. Later, my phone buzzed with Caleb's name. I stared at it and did not answer. Jenna raised her eyebrows and asked if I would pick up. I said no, because if I answered, I would look guilty. I wrote a short text instead. I said the music was loud and I was fine. He replied that he only wanted to confirm the kids were asleep and safe. I did not respond. When we were on our second drink, I saw a familiar jacket near the entrance. My stomach dropped. Caleb stepped onto the rooftop like he belonged there, but his face was tight. He was not drunk. He was not angry in a wild way. He looked like a man who had not slept. Jenna whispered that my warden had arrived. I told her to be quiet, but I smiled anyway. Caleb walked up and asked if we could talk for a minute. I said he was embarrassing me. He asked if I could come downstairs. I said no. He asked if I could at least tell him why I did not answer his call. I said I was out and he should respect that. He looked at Jenna and then back at me. He asked if Tristan was here. I laughed and asked if he wanted to search the building. Jenna laughed too. I felt power in the shared laugh. Caleb's jaw tightened, but he did not raise his voice. He said he was taking the kids to school in the morning, and he needed to know if I planned to come home tonight. I said I would come home when I was ready. He asked if I understood how that sounded. I said it sounded like freedom. People at the next table glanced over. Jenna lifted her phone, not fully hiding it. I knew she was filming, and I let her. I wanted proof that Caleb was crazy. I wanted the clip to show me calm and him desperate. Caleb saw the phone. He asked Jenna to stop recording. She said she was not recording. He did not reach for it. He did not touch her. He just nodded and asked me again if I would come home. I said yes, eventually, and I told him he should stop acting like a victim in public. He stared at me, then looked down at his hands like he was counting to 10. He said okay, and he told me to be safe. Then he turned and walked away without a scene. Jenna giggled and said he looked pathetic. I laughed, but the sound felt thin. On my phone, a notification popped up. Someone had tagged me in a story already. In the little preview, I saw my own face smiling while Caleb stood there, quiet, like a man being judged by strangers. The next morning, the tagged story was everywhere. I saw it before I even brushed my teeth. My face looked bright under the rooftop lights, and Caleb looked like a stranger who did not belong in my world. The comments were messy. Some people called him controlling. Some people asked why I looked proud. I focused on the ones that defended me. At breakfast, Caleb did not mention the video. He asked Mila if she packed her reading log. She said she did. He asked Noah if he wanted a banana. Noah said yes. Caleb asked me if I could confirm the kids' pickup time for the weekend. I said he was acting like a calendar robot. He said he needed clarity. I said clarity was his favorite word when he wanted power. He stayed calm. That calm started to feel like an insult. I wanted a fight. I wanted him to raise his voice so the story would match the clip. Instead, he washed the dishes and wiped the counter like nothing was burning. On the way out, I noticed he placed his phone face down. I also noticed a small folder on the table with a plain label like household. It was not open. It was just there, neat and square. I asked what he was sorting now. He said he was organizing bills and school papers. I told him he was preparing for some performance. He said he was preparing for life. At work, Jenna was excited. She said the clip did numbers. She said people loved a strong woman. I said that was because people were tired of weak men. She asked if I was scared Caleb would do something. I laughed and said he was not the type. I said he would mope and then come back. I said men like him wanted comfort more than dignity. Lena heard us and asked what we were talking about. Jenna said it was marriage drama. Lena asked if I was okay. I said I was better than okay. I said I was finally standing up for myself. Lena's face went stiff. She said standing up was good, but lying was not. I asked why she assumed I was lying. She said she did not assume. She observed. I told her she should mind her own business. She nodded like she expected that answer. That afternoon, Caleb texted me once. He asked if I planned to attend the community hall fundraiser on Friday. I said yes, because my sister and my mother already told everyone I would be there. Caleb replied that he would also attend because it was for the kids' school. I read that line again and again, and it felt like a challenge. Friday came fast. I wore a clean dress and the kind of smile that made people think I was fine. In the car, Taryn told me I had to win the room. She said Caleb would try to look like a sad hero. She said I had to make him look ridiculous. I said he did that job himself. The community hall was loud and bright. There were balloons, raffle tables, and parents in neat clothes. I saw teachers, neighbors, and people from my clinic. I did not like how many eyes could become witnesses. Still, I told myself that witnesses were useful if the story was mine. Caleb arrived with the kids. He held Noah's hand and carried a small jacket for Mila. He nodded at people and said polite hellos. He did not cling to me. He did not glare. He just moved like a man who had a place there. That made me feel small, so I made myself bigger. Jenna came up and asked if I wanted a photo by the banner. I said yes. Caleb walked closer, and Jenna asked if he wanted to join. Caleb said he would rather watch the kids for a minute. Jenna laughed and said he was always so serious. Caleb said he was just focused. I could hear the quiet judgment behind Jenna's laugh, and I decided to cut Caleb down before he looked too steady. At the raffle table, someone asked how married life was going. I said it was hard when a man acted fragile. The woman asked what I meant. I said Caleb took everything personally. Caleb looked over and asked if I could not talk about private things in public. I said he was the one making it public by showing up like a sad guard. He asked if we could talk somewhere quiet. I said I was not running away to soothe him. He said he was not asking for soothing. He was asking for basic respect. I said respect followed results, and he had not given me results. I saw a few faces turn toward us. Taryn stepped in and asked Caleb why he was trying to control the mood. Caleb said he was not controlling anything. He said he wanted the event to stay about the kids. Jenna muttered that he was so dramatic. Caleb looked at Jenna and asked her to stop calling him names. Jenna said she did not call him names. She said she was joking. Caleb said joking was supposed to be funny for everyone. I hated how reasonable he sounded. Reasonable men are hard to attack. I leaned in and asked Caleb why he was acting like a wounded boy. He asked what I wanted from him. I told him I wanted him to stop whining. He asked if I was proud of what I had done. I said I was proud of choosing myself. He said that was not choosing yourself. That was choosing to hurt your family. People were watching now. I saw phones in hands. I saw one camera lift, not hidden at all. My heart beat fast, but it also felt good. I wanted the crowd to see me as strong. Caleb asked if I would stop and think about the kids. I said he always used the kids as a shield. He said he was using them as a reason. I told him he should be a man and handle it. I said it loud enough that the closest tables went quiet. Mila looked up from her cookie and stared at us. Noah stopped bouncing and held Caleb's leg. Caleb's face changed. It did not twist into rage. It went flat, like a door closing. He asked if that was really how I saw him. I said yes. I said a real man would not stand there begging for truth. He said he was not begging. He said he was confirming. I said he should confirm with himself, not with me. He took a slow breath and looked down at Noah. He asked Noah if he wanted to go check the fish tank display. Noah nodded. Caleb took both kids by the hand and walked away from me. He did not pull them hard. He did not rush. He just left the circle like it was not worth saving. That is when I felt the first sting of panic. A part of me expected him to chase me or shout. He did neither. He took the kids and made a small safe world away from me. I walked toward the side corridor to follow them, but I stopped when I saw Caleb near a quiet corner. He was not crying. He was not texting me. He was looking at his phone with careful focus. I heard a soft beep, like an app starting or stopping. Then he slipped the phone back into his pocket. I told myself it meant nothing. I told myself he was recording to make me look bad, and that was proof he was the villain. Still, my hand started to shake. Later, in the parking lot, I saw him place the kids into the car with steady movements. He buckled them in and checked the straps twice. Then he sat in the driver's seat and did not start the car right away. His head tilted slightly, like he was listening to something. Then he glanced up at the rearview mirror, where his dashcam sat like a small eye. I walked up and asked why he was sitting there. He asked if I needed something. I said he was acting strange. He said he was making sure the kids were calm before driving. I said he was pretending. He said he was done pretending. I asked what that meant. He said it meant he would not argue in crowds anymore. He said it meant he would not explain himself to people who enjoyed mocking him. I told him he was being dramatic again. He said no, he was being careful. On the drive home in my own car, Tristan texted me and asked how the event went. I almost wrote that it was fine. Then I wrote that Caleb was acting weird. Tristan replied that weird could become dangerous. I stared at that word and felt sick because Caleb had not been dangerous at all. He had been calm. He had been lawful. He had been steady. At home that night, the house felt split down the middle. Caleb set the kids' shoes in a line. He put their backpacks by the door. He did not ask me what happened at the hall. He did not ask me why I said what I said. He did not try to sleep next to me. He went to the guest room and closed the door with a soft final sound. I stood in the hallway and listened. I heard a drawer open and close. I heard a faint hum from the shredder in the office corner, like someone feeding it slowly. Then everything went quiet again, and I realized I did not know what he was becoming. The next morning, Caleb acted like a coworker, not a husband. He made breakfast, packed bags, and spoke only about the kids. He asked Mila if she had her scarf. She said yes. He asked Noah if he wanted peanut butter or cheese. Noah said peanut butter. He asked me if I could be home by 6. I said he was not my manager. He nodded and said he was not managing me. He was planning dinner. I told myself he was doing it to punish me. I told myself the calm was a trick. I wanted him to snap so I could point at him and say I was right. He did not snap. After the kids left, I walked into the hallway and looked at the guest room door. It was closed. I heard nothing. The silence felt like a new rule in my house, and I hated rules unless I made them. At work, I tried to act normal, but my mind kept jumping. I opened my phone and checked Tristan's messages. He asked if I was okay after the fundraiser. I said Caleb was acting cold. Tristan said cold men could become strict men. I asked what he meant. He said strict men started making plans. I told him Caleb was not capable of that. Tristan wrote that I should not underestimate quiet people. That message sat in my head all day. At lunch, I went to the supermarket near the clinic to pick up snacks for the kids. The checkout line moved slow. I held a basket with apples, yogurt, and a small box of cookies. When I tapped my card, the screen flashed an error. The cashier said it did not go through and asked if I had another method. People behind me shifted and sighed. My face burned. I tried again. It failed again. I used a different card, the one linked to our joint account, and it also failed. The cashier asked if I wanted to put items back. I said it was a system problem and that I would call my bank. I paid with a credit card I kept just in case. It worked. The cashier handed me the receipt like she was doing me a favor. Outside, I called Caleb. He did not answer. I texted him and asked if he moved money. He replied a few minutes later and said the system was fine and he had not moved money, but he had set a limit on the shared debit for unplanned spending until our budget talk. He added that essentials were covered and I could use the household card for groceries if I used the list. I read that message twice. It was not loud, it was not cruel, it was structured. It made me feel like I was the one with no power, and I hated that feeling more than anything. I wrote back that he was trying to control me with money. He replied that he was trying to protect the kids' stability. I wrote that he was treating me like a child. He replied that he was treating the budget like a budget. That was how he fought now, not with anger, with sentences that sounded like they came from a handbook. When I got back to the clinic, Jenna asked how my day was. I told her Caleb was cutting me off. Jenna's eyes widened and she said he was getting bold. She said I should post something about financial abuse. I said that would make him look terrible. Jenna said it would make me look like a victim. I liked the word victim in a public way. I did not like it in a private way. Lena overheard again. She asked if I was sure about what I was saying. I told her she was not my therapist. She said she was not trying to be. She was trying to be fair. I said fairness was just another word people use to protect weak men. After work, I drove to the school pickup line. I arrived a bit late on purpose, because I did not want Caleb to think he could schedule my life. The line was long and slow. Parents sat in cars with tired faces. A teacher waved cars forward. Caleb's car was already there, parked in the short-term spot, like he had planned it. He had Noah on his hip and Mila holding his hand. Mila saw my car and did not smile. That small thing hit me harder than I expected. Caleb walked up and asked if I could sign the pickup sheet next time on time. I said I was on time. The line was just long. He said the line was long for everyone. I said he loved to correct me. He said he loved to keep things simple for the kids. Mila climbed into my back seat without speaking. Noah asked if we had cookies. I said yes. Caleb closed the door gently and asked if I could confirm the weekend schedule again. I said he was acting like we were separated. He said he was acting like the kids needed a plan. I said he was using the kids to punish me. He said he was using a plan to reduce stress. I watched his face. There was sadness, but it sat behind his eyes like a locked room. I could not reach it, and that made me angry. On the drive home, Mila asked if Dad would come back to the bedroom. I told her Dad was being dramatic and needed space. She asked if it was because I was mean to him. I told her I was not mean, I was honest. She looked out the window and said nothing. Noah sang to himself and kicked his feet, not aware of the sharp air between adults. At home, I carried groceries in. Caleb was in the kitchen, wiping the counter. 2 mugs sat on opposite sides again. He asked if I bought what we needed. I said yes. He asked if the receipt was in the bag. I said why did he need it? He said he was tracking spending. I said he was obsessed. He said he was responsible. I walked past him and opened the cabinet where we kept snacks. A small sticky note was taped inside the door. It said something like, "Bring forms." I pulled it off and stared at it. Caleb noticed and asked me not to touch his notes. I asked what forms he was bringing. He said they were school forms and household forms. I said he was lying. He said I could think what I wanted. That phrase made my stomach drop. He used to argue when I accused him. Now he let my words fall to the floor and did not pick them up. Later, while the kids watched cartoons, I went to the hall closet. I told myself I was looking for batteries. I pushed aside coats and saw a neat row of folders. Utilities, bank, school, insurance. They looked newer than before, like someone had rebuilt our life into categories. I heard footsteps behind me. Caleb asked what I was doing. I said I was looking for batteries. He reached in calmly and handed me a pack from the top shelf, like he had always known where they were. I asked why the folders were so organized. He said he was catching up on paperwork. I asked if he was planning something against me. He said he was planning for the kids, no matter what happened between us. I felt heat rise and I said he was acting like a hero. He asked me not to turn this into a performance. I said he started the performance when he went quiet and made me look like the bad guy. He said he did not need to make me look like anything. He said my choices spoke loudly enough. That line hurt, so I tried to twist it. I said he was punishing me with silence. He said silence was not punishment, it was a boundary. I said boundaries were just a fancy word for revenge. He said revenge was illegal, and he was not doing that. He said he was doing what was proper and safe. He walked to the drawer by the fridge and opened it with a key I had not seen before. I noticed a new key on his ring earlier, but I told myself it was for work. Now I saw him use it at home. He took out a small USB, labeled with a date, and slid it back in fast. He did not show me anything. He did not threaten me with it. He simply locked the drawer again. A soft beep came from his phone. It sounded like a recording app starting or stopping. I stared at him. He looked back and asked if I needed anything for the kids' bedtime. I wanted to scream. Instead, I told him he was being paranoid. He said he was being careful. I told him he was trying to scare me. He said he was not trying to scare me. He was trying to stop the chaos. That night, Mila brushed her teeth slowly and asked if we were still a family. I told her we were, but Dad was being stubborn. Caleb walked past the bathroom door and said Mila was always part of a family, even when adults had problems. Mila nodded, but her eyes filled with water. When the kids were asleep, I went to the living room and saw Caleb's laptop open for a second before he closed it. I only caught a glimpse, but I saw tabs that looked like storage options and delivery tracking and notary near me. He noticed me looking and shut the screen gently. I asked what he was doing. He said he was handling important personal tasks. I asked if those tasks were about me. He said his tasks were about reality. I stood there, holding my phone like a shield, and I realized something I did not want to admit. Caleb was not breaking. He was building. By the time the weekend came, I felt like I was living next to a stranger who knew my habits better than I did. Caleb moved through the house like a man following a checklist. He woke up early. He made the kids breakfast. He folded laundry in clean piles. He did not ask me to explain anything. He did not try to touch me. He did not try to argue. I told myself he was doing it to punish me. I told myself he wanted me to feel lonely. But the truth was that he looked calmer. That calm made my skin itch. On Saturday morning, I decided to take control again. I would not let him turn me into the villain without a fight. If he wanted to be the quiet hero, I would become the brave woman who admitted mistakes. I practiced the words in my head while I brushed my hair. I told myself the right story could fix anything. At lunch, my mother Marla came over. She brought pastries and opinions. She asked if Caleb was still sleeping in the guest room. I said yes, and I made my voice sound tired and hurt, like I was the one being abandoned. Marla clicked her tongue and said men loved to sulk when they lost control. I nodded and said he was trying to shame me. Caleb walked in with Noah on his hip, and he greeted Marla politely. He asked if she wanted tea. She said yes. He made it and placed the cup in front of her like a waiter. It annoyed me because it made him look respectful. Marla asked Caleb if he planned to move on from this soon. Caleb said he planned to do what was best for the kids. Marla asked what that meant. Caleb said it meant stable routines and clear agreements. Marla asked if he was threatening me. Caleb said he was not threatening anyone. He said he was avoiding drama. I tried to interrupt and say this was all a misunderstanding. Caleb looked at me and asked what part was misunderstood. I said the part where he acted like I was evil. He asked when he called me evil. I said he did not have to say it, his silence said it. He replied that silence was sometimes just silence. That made Marla angry. She said Caleb was playing mind games. Caleb asked what game he was playing. Marla said he was trying to make me look unstable. Caleb said he did not need to try. Then he corrected himself quickly and said he did not mean to insult me. He meant that public posts and public jokes had already made things unstable. I felt my face burn. I asked what posts. He said he was not discussing it in front of Marla and the kids. He picked up Noah's cup and said it was time for water, not juice. He kept his voice gentle with the child and steady with the adults. After Marla left, I texted my sister Taryn and asked her to come over. I wanted backup. I wanted someone to remind Caleb that I was not alone. Taryn arrived with her big sunglasses and loud energy. She asked why Caleb looked like a funeral worker. Caleb asked her to keep her voice down because Mila was reading. Taryn rolled her eyes and said he always used the kids to control the room. Caleb said he was using the kids to keep the room safe. I told Taryn that Caleb was limiting the debit card. Taryn gasped and said that was abusive. Caleb asked what essentials I had been denied. Taryn paused. I jumped in and said it was not about essentials, it was about respect. Caleb said respect came from choices, not from spending. I tried to flip it. I said he was treating me like a criminal. He said he was treating the situation like a serious family issue. I said it was just a mistake. He asked how many times a mistake happened before it became a pattern. I told him he was obsessed. That night, I drove to the clinic parking garage, not because I had to work, but because I needed air. Tristan had asked to meet for a short talk. I told myself it was only for comfort. I told myself comfort was not a crime. Tristan stood by his car and asked if Caleb had calmed down. I said Caleb was acting strange, like he was planning something. Tristan said men planned when they were embarrassed. I said Caleb should be embarrassed, not me. Tristan asked if I was sure. I said yes. Then I heard myself and did not like the sound. Tristan suggested I should secure my side before Caleb did. He said I should keep messages, save screenshots, and make sure I looked like the reasonable one. I asked if he was telling me to lie. He said he was telling me to protect myself. I went home with that word stuck to me. Protect. It sounded like something Caleb would say. I hated that I was starting to think like him. Sunday afternoon, Caleb took the kids to Denise's house. He told me he would be back by 6. He did not ask me to come. That exclusion hurt like a slap. I decided to create a moment. I called Jenna and invited her over for coffee, knowing she would talk loud and laugh. When she arrived, I told her Caleb was trying to paint me as the bad guy. Jenna said I should paint him first. She said people loved a clear villain. She suggested I post a truth thread and say Caleb had been cold for years. I opened my phone and drafted a post. I wrote that I was a strong woman who had carried a silent marriage. I wrote that I made mistakes, but I would not be controlled. I almost pressed send. Then Caleb came home with the kids. He saw Jenna at the table. He nodded politely and asked if she needed anything. Jenna smirked and asked if he was done being dramatic. Caleb said he was done discussing private matters with spectators. Jenna asked if he was going to divorce me over one mistake. Caleb looked at her and said he would not share personal decisions with her. Jenna asked if he was scared of the truth. Caleb said truth was not scary when it was documented. The word documented hit me like cold water. I asked what he meant. He said he meant he was keeping things clear because confusion hurt children. I told him he was acting like a lawyer. He said he was acting like a father. Later that night, when the kids were asleep, I went to the guest room door and knocked. Caleb opened it a little. He did not invite me in. He asked what I needed. I said I needed us to talk like adults. He said we could talk, but he would not argue. I told him I wanted him to forgive me and move on. He asked what moving on looked like to me. I said it looked like him coming back to the bedroom and stopping the cold behavior. He asked if I was willing to stop lying and stop humiliating him in public. I said I would stop if he stopped acting like a victim. He stared at me for a long moment. He asked if I understood what I had done to our family. I said I understood that I was human and I deserved happiness. He asked if happiness required betrayal. I said, happiness required honesty with yourself. He took a breath and spoke slowly, like each word was chosen. He said he was not going to do emotional fights anymore. He said he was not going to chase me for answers. He said he would handle this properly. I tried to laugh and asked what properly meant. He said it meant lawful steps, clear boundaries, and a plan that protected the kids. He said it meant I could say whatever I wanted to people, but reality would still exist. I told him he was threatening me. He said he was not threatening me, and he would never do anything illegal. He said he was simply done living in chaos. Then he closed the door gently, not slamming it, not showing anger. The latch clicked like a final point in a sentence. I stood in the hallway with my phone in my hand, and for the first time, I felt like my story was no longer the loudest one in the house. They served me in the office tower lobby, right by the coffee stand, while two strangers watched. Caleb stood back and said nothing. The papers listed dates, clips, receipts, and messages like a timeline. Temporary orders started today. I tried to speak. He walked away, calm.